Okay, so we've one more little issue that we want to correct before we move on to adding more things into our game, and that is how our player acts in the world, and more specifically, how if we do this, we can make our player stick to a wall just by holding the direction against the wall, and he will stay there forever. And if we let go of the player, it'll fall down. That'd be fine. But we don't want our player just magically sticking to walls like that. What we want is, if he doesn't make it to a platform, he will hit against the side and just slide straight down off into the distance. And it's a very, very simple fix to make that I've seen people have problems with it in other things before. So we're just going to quickly go through that, and then we'll move on to adding more things into our game. So what we want to do is go to our assets folder here and make sure we're in the root asset folder directory. And we're going to create a new folder that we're going to call materials. And we're going to go into that, and then we're going to right click here, and we're going to create a new physics 2D material that we're going to call this the player material. Okay, so we've created this down here, and if we look over here in the inspector, we can see there's only two things on our player material here. And basically all the material does is it affects how the box colliders in the world will interact with any other thing using our physics. So on our player, if we go in here like this, if we go look at the box collider, there's no material applied by default. So by default, all the colliders will kind of interact with each other and just kind of be statically holding each other when they touch if they're not told to move. So what we want is to turn the friction here to 0. So now, if we apply this material to the player, whenever it comes up against another material, it'll just have 0 friction, so it'll just slide off everything, and we'll be able to not worry about the player getting stuck on the walls like that. It won't affect how we move around on the top of the world, because how we're moving around when we're walking and running is determined by what forces we're putting in. So we know that we always stop on an instant, so we don't need to worry about the player sliding too far because his material has no friction. So what we can do now that we've created our material, go to our player here, we can drag this player material into the box like that, and now if we hit play again, now we can run into the edge of any of these walls here, and our player will just fall straight down into the void below. And it'll be the exact same with everything that we've got going on here. And if we were to jump and not quite reach that platform, see, we hit off the side and we fall down to our doom. So that's how we can add a little bit more danger to our game, a little bit more accuracy to how these things normally work in platformers, and not leave our players confused as to why they're able to stick to walls but then they die when they let go of any buttons. So yeah, so now that we've got all the basics covered and we've fixed up those few little issues we're having, it's time to move on to adding some more things into the game.